Welcome to the Focus University course on elementary scheduling in version 9. In this lesson, we will review how the loading reports are useful for elementary schools. When scheduling for the upcoming school year, we'll want to make sure that the correct school year is selected from the drop-down located in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. I will be scheduling for the 2019-2020 school year, so I'll want to select the drop-down and then select the appropriate school year. Now I'm ready to begin. To access the loading reports, we'll go to the scheduling menu and select loading reports. Here you're greeted with a screen that has several tabs at the top. The Courses with Unfilled Requests tab and the Unfilled Requests tab will not be useful for elementary schools because more often than not, elementary schools do not put in course requests for their students. Therefore, these tabs are not applicable to elementary schools. So the first tab that we'll look at are Overfilled Sections. The Overfilled Sections tab lets me know if there are any classes that have overfilled seats based off of the seat count. For example, this health class has 18 filled seats. However, the seat count of available seats is only set to 5. Therefore, this class is overfilled by 13 seats. This may be okay. If it's not okay, though, you can click on either the link to the course or the link to the section and adjust the seat count by clicking on the seats and adjusting that number. Then clicking Save. By doing that, you'll notice that this class no longer appears on that list. The next tab that we'll look at is the Students with Incomplete Schedules tab. You can run this for your entire school, or you can utilize more search options to have a specific group of students selected. I'll select my first grade students and then search. What this list is going to do is based off of the effective date I have set, which is the first day of school for next year. It's telling me which students do not have a complete schedule based off of the periods that I have selected in the school day. Let's say, for instance, period 9 is a period where you only have enrichment classes and therefore you do not need it to count on this report. You can simply uncheck period 9 and update the report. The same could be said for period 8. You may only use period 8 for a study hall, and therefore you don't want it to display on this report. You can uncheck period 8 and update. I do have quarter 1 selected in my upper right-hand corner for my marking period, which is why I see marking period quarter 1 here. If you are a school that does have semester-based classes and you want to look at your semester 2 classes, you'll want to adjust to quarter 3. But more often than not, that does not apply to elementary schools. So let's take a look at this report. The first thing at a glance that I would personally look for are any students that have red X's across the board. That is telling me that they do not have a schedule at all, which means I did not give them one of the elementary packages. So I can look at my student by clicking on the link to their name, and I'll notice that this student indeed does not have any classes at all, meaning I did not give him a package. So this could be either a student who was newly enrolled at your school, or I just missed him when I mass added my packages to students. But I know right here from this report that I need to do something with this student to give him a schedule. I would also look at for patterns on this report. You'll notice these first few students all have a missing period 2 class. This could indeed indicate that these students are all missing a period 2 for one reason or another, or it could mean that there's a class missing in their package that I just accidentally did not package. So let's click on this student's name to take a look at their schedule. They have a period 1 class, period 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's telling me maybe I really did forget to include a period 2 class in this package when I was packaging all of the courses together. Let's see if it's the same for the next student. They also have a period 1, a period 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 class, and no period 2. So this report is giving me really good information about mistakes that may have been made when packaging, students I may have missed when packaging their schedules, or new students who are coming on board, or simply students that do not have a particular course in a period. Prior to the first day of school, you'll want to have this report, Students with Incomplete Schedules, cleaned up as much as possible because you want to ensure that all students have an active and accurate schedule the first day of school. If you need to export this report to Excel, you can click the blue icon right here. The next report that we'll take a look at is the students with conflicting schedules. Again, I can search for everybody in my school. I would recommend that for this report, and we'll click search. I have my effective date of August 12th, the first day of school. I do not have any periods in the school day selected. That could be why I have no students that were found on this report. So I'll want to go ahead and select those periods. I'll select as many periods as I have in my school day. I can leave the periods that aren't used unchecked. So I've selected periods 1 through 7. That gave me a result of one student that has a conflicting schedule. The red X is telling me that this student has a conflicting schedule in period 1. I'll go ahead and click on that student to view what is going on in period 1. I can see from this student's schedule that they have a period 1 homeroom for 2nd grade and a period 1 homeroom for 3rd grade. That means I somehow made a mistake and gave this student 2 packages by accident. So from this report, I can easily know that there's something I need to clean up for this student. At the elementary school level, it is important that we include this checkbox, include sections that do not take attendance. This student is on this report because homeroom does indeed take attendance. But I may be missing other students who have conflicts in other periods because I have my elementary school set up to only take attendance period 1. But let's see if we have any other conflicts by checking this checkbox. I do. This student has a conflict in period 4. So let's take a look at his schedule. This student has science scheduled period 4, music scheduled period 4, as well as speech, health, and PE. So this is telling me that this student, period 4 is the specials rotation period, and this student's also included in speech. So he has conflicts period 4, and that might be okay, and I don't need to make any changes to his schedule. But at least this report is alerting me of a possible conflict. The next report we'll look at is percentage of students scheduled. Let's look at Focus Elementary School. And I can see the percentage of students I have scheduled is 14.64%. So that's telling me I have a little bit more work to do, or a lot more work to do, in order to get to 100% of students scheduled. I can see the fully scheduled units that I have. Here's my school number, the number of students in my school, and the number of students who are underscheduled. Because the number of students underscheduled, 478, is underlined, that means I can click that number. And it'll open up the loading reports for me, and I can search for students with those incomplete schedules. You may not have a list full of other schools because you may not have access to other schools. You may only have access to your school, which is why you're only seeing one school on your list. Before we conclude this video, I want to take a look at our period setup. So let's go to the Setup menu. Let's look at periods. All of those scheduling reports that we looked at are based off of your period setup and which periods you have indicated as required for scheduling. So if you have periods indicated not required for scheduling, then those reports will not consider that period. This concludes our lesson on how loading reports are useful for elementary schools.